Welcome to the Mad Plantman Show, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We have got three absolutely belting dahlias that make the summer borders sing for months. After that, we'll be going into a bit of Granfer and his Edwardian lore. Always like a little bit of storytelling from Granfer. And then we'll be finishing off with me going out and trying not to hurt myself by chopping some logs. Yes, log chopping, and showing you what a great thing it is to stay fit in the garden and keep nice and healthy. Anyway, that's all in the show. First things first, let's go to our first dahlia. Which one do we have? Here we have it. Sparkler by name, sparkler by nature. This really brings a bright, almost electric colour to the garden. Striped petals, and they can catch the light, which is beautiful. Unfortunately, today's a little bit muggy and we're in the polytunnel because it's a little bit damp and drizzlers outside, but they do sing in the summer. Absolutely sing. This will stop people in their tracks. A cracking plant for your border. Right, let's have a little bit of a closer look with one of the plants. Now the dahlias. Now this is a little babby dahlia, but obviously still got a nice flower coming, another flower is coming. So you can see even at a small age, it does like to flower. Now, what will happen with dahlias, they will flower all during summer and into autumn as well. When they've finished their flower, deadhead, because that stops the energy going into producing seeds, which is a bit pointless, and goes into producing roots and, more importantly, a tuber. And then the strength goes into there. That then will be nice and healthy for next year and will create a lovely bigger plant next year. One thing you do have to be very careful of with dahlias, of course, is they are a little bit on the old weaky side as far as liking cold temperatures. So what a lot of people do is dig them up and bring them in, and they take their tubers and they store them in sand or in something dry, straw, over winter, and then bring them out and replant them out. I tend not to. What I tend to do is I've got this one planted into the ground. It will die back. I will then put a mound of bark chippings, let's say, over the top. I might even put a layer of cardboard over the top first of all, and then bark chippings on top. That should produce enough protection for these to go through the winter. As long as you are in and got these planted in a soil which allows for a nice bit of drainage, you should be fine. Now that's only my choice. I don't like digging them up because, quite frankly, I don't want to make another job for myself in the garden. They are beautiful and I do want them to come up. Yes, I will lose somewhat them, doing it that way, but even if you store them over winter, you can lose them as well. So, takes your choice on those. You can put them in pots, and they are beautiful in pots. Now, pots are slightly different because, of course, they're more manageable. You've got them, you've got to shift that pot somewhere. So if you overwinter it, you can knock out the dahlias and store them again, or just keep them dry in that pot. It's the dry and storing over winter you've got to be careful of. Anyway, this one is an absolute belting dahlia. This one is Dahlia Spirit, whereas before Sparkler was bright and bushy and really in your face. This one, calmer, but beautiful nonetheless. I will see if I can find the one with the flower on, and I shall put the rest down. Let's enjoy that for a moment. Now, if you can imagine when this bush is out, this will be full of these flowers. As I said before, what you do, when this flower is spent, stop the seeds forming and taking valuable fuel away from this bit, the root. So you just deadhead it. That will then also encourage more flowers to come and more stems. This is only it's only got a couple of stems on it because this is the way I have them until planted on or sold on. But there you go. What an absolutely beautiful plant. Now this one, there's the mini little tuber forming. Now these do get quite big, and that is where all the nutrients and the power for the plant to develop comes from. So it starts off with roots like normal plants, and then it will develop tubers over, give it a few months, over time. And those are the tubers that you protect in winter. Now, as I said before, I leave mine out, cover them up, they should be fine. You can dig them up, dry them off, and store them over winter. It is whatever you fancy. But look at that one. Well, a little bit of a morning glow. And not only do we love them, but the insects love them as well. Bees absolutely adore these. So that's the spirit. Now, on to the last dahlia of the day. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Dahlia Mystic Fantasy, and it really is a bit of a special one. Lovely foliage, bright blooms, multicoloured, pastely, almost blend. You get the colour, you get the structure, all of which comes from one plant. This is exactly the sort of plant you want in the border to give a bit of contrast and get a bit of depth. It is a proper statement plant and really great in many, many forms of garden design. From the modern, where you introduce structure and bits and pieces like sculptures and stuff, to the traditional English border, including exotics as well. Anyway, I've got out one flower. Let's have a little look at this beauty in more detail. It's a double. In fact, it's a little bit more than a double. Just look at those blooms. Pastels, great. And it's only a small plant, but we've got another 2 flowers coming. Oh, this is just a little dreamy one, isn't it? A little dreamy one. Beautiful roots on it. Those will, as I said, they'll start to develop over the next couple of months. Nice corn, or sorry, tuber. That tuber will then, be good and ready to either keep in the ground, sprout out next year, as long as it's kept not freezing and not damp, or you can, put it in a box with some straw and it'll be fine to replant again. But great plant. Now, you can propagate these, and I haven't picked a plant which is very good at propagating. Apologies for that. Right. Now, you can propagate these, and propagate these in 2 ways. I haven't really got an old plant to show you, but when you are keeping this one, stored over winter, and the tubers, you plant them up, and they will develop shoots from it. And you take a little bit of that stem and a bit of the tuber, put it in some sort of compost, and it will grow on, because it's that tuber will give it the kick. You can take cuttings of these. I don't find them as easy, I have to be honest. And you do that by basically taking a softwood cutting like this, pull it down, so you've got a heel, put it in compost mix, and then let it go. Now, I always take off the bottom couple of leaves, always pinch out the top, because the top is likely at some stage to form a flower, and you don't want any power being sapped away from this bit where you're trying to get root by flowers. But anyway, I'll be putting that one into, I might actually just try this one in water and see what happens, because apparently you can do that, and I've not really done that, but I'm going to try that, just see what happens if stick that in water. But anyway, that's how you take a brief little cutting of that one. But the preferred option is beginning of the year when the new shoots come up, and they are lovely to take. But anyway, that's the dahlias. I think I've heard the general lovely little warblings of Granfer coming up. So anyway, over to Granfer now, a little bit of Edwardian folklore, I believe. Hello everyone, lovely to see you again. Granfer here. Anyway, we're going to delve back into those wonderful times with the Edwardians. Gardening weren't all them fancy labels and online shops and that TikTok-y stuff. You may do what you had. I remember stories my Granfers used to tell me that gardens were run proper. They were run tight. Nothing was wasted. Ash from the fire put straight on the soil. Manure, gold dust that was, collected local. None of this bagged stuff. Dahlias though, seen them earlier. Them were prized. People used to lift them up careful like, before the frost, wrap up them tubers in newspaper and store 'em up in the sheds or cellars. No greenhouses for most folks, just a bit of know-how and luck, of course. Cutting flowers weren't just for show, they were for the house, or church, or neighbours, of course. Gardening weren't just growing, was sharing. Everyone should be mindful of that. Different times, but some of it will do well to remember. Right then, it's enough learning for one day. See Drackley, Granfer out. Okay, last bit of the day. Well, we've had Granfer, we've had the Dahlias and those beauties. Now we're into the log shed, and you can see what I spend a bit of downtime doing. These are me logs, and I have the pleasure in saying every one of those have been chopped up by me. I quite like doing a bit of log chopping. It's really good. Not everyone can do it, of course, because you can't get hold of logs, and you might not have the space to be able to do it. But I'm lucky enough to. But I'm sure you can adapt, because it is a great way to stay fit. And I really like it. So anyway, I'm going to do a bit of a log chop now. Hopefully I might pick a nice log this time. This is what you call a round. And the reason why it's called a round is because it's round. It's one of the main splits from the, or cuts when chainsaw goes in and takes a tree down. But it is a belting way to start off with your axing. Now, people will cut through the middle, or you can nibble away at the sides. This is a piece of ash, and so I'll show you the rings on it. Way up, there we go. There we go, you can see the rings. That should hopefully make it quite nice to split, both nibbling and down the middle. Let's. Whoa. God, it's so good when you hit it and it goes like that. Sometimes you can hit them and they can just, you know, you're in for a rough ride. There we go. Now, reason why anything in the garden's good. You're outside and it's just nice. And it's not particularly sunny today, I know. But that doesn't make any difference. It's better to be outside, bit of fresh air. If you're doing some digging, planting, watering, shifting pots around, all of which takes a bit of energy, keeps everything going. It is really, really good form of exercise, the old garden. I like log chopping because it gets a bit of aggression out as well. Wonder who this is going to be. Well, whoever it was, they didn't have a good time there, did they? So it's nice to take your aggression out rather than actually taking it out on people. But that's chopping. Now, you have to lift it, you have to bend, you have to stretch, use your arms, your shoulders, your back, even your core, which always needs a bit of work because everyone likes a few bicky poozes with their cup of tea. I know I do. But anyway, that is log chopping. Along with everything else in the garden, it is really, really good to do. Get out and get healthy. Anyway, I'm just going to stack the logs away now and call it a day. Well, I won't call it a day, got plenty of work to do, but that's the episode done. Stay weird, stay wild. Mad Plantman is out.